my name is Krishna, Mckenzie. Let's look at Tamil culture. You have a lot of culture. How that culture grew? Simply, if you ask yourself that question, how did culture emerge over thousands of years? It emerged because people had food. They had a relationship to the food around them. In the Upanishad, there is a very beautiful concept of the kosh, the sheaths of existence. So they start with the Annamaya kosh, which is the food sheath. And then you have the Pranamaya kosh, the energy sheath. Then you have the Manamaya kosh, which is the mind sheath. And obviously from the Manamaya kosh emerges language. And language is the vehicle of culture. So without the food sheath, without the soil, which gives the plants. So without the relationship with the soil, which gives the plants, which gives the food, which gives them the Annamaya kosh, which gives them, Pranamaya kosh, Manamaya kosh language, there is no culture. So let's think about where we are today. Just consider what you had for breakfast. Idli, dosa, maybe someone had a bun or something. The four staples that we consume. Out of 200,000 edible plants, these are the four things we consume. And you ask yourself, so when I had the rice, the idli with the ulandu and the rice, so where were those ingredients grown? We don't know. We don't know where the food we eat grows, and yet it's the foundation of our culture. We don't know where it's grown, who grew it, how it was grown, were chemicals used, and if they were, which chemicals and how much chemicals. We don't know how it's processed, packed, stored, transported. We're divorced from our most fundamental, need. Because this is the one thing that we all can say, we all agree on this. It's our lowest common denominator. This word we will use many times. The food is our basic collective need. And yet we have no relationship to it, to this Annamaya kosh. In my country, in England, we have no culture. And that's because we completely lost this relationship with the food. In India and Tamil Nadu, still very alive, So it's still there. So you can see there's still a culture. Identity, because of this, is lifestyle diseases. It's also the climate change. It's industrialized agriculture, which is why we have this problem. Is the major contributing factor to climate change. And then you have, of course, a nutritional, erosion, and many other problems in our society have emerged because of this loss. So you ask yourself, what can we do? What do we do about this problem? Before things were okay, like if you go back 50 years ago, type 2 diabetes was not prevalent in Tamil Nadu. Also, BP was not prevalent. In England, in the 80s, 56% of food that a household would buy would be vegetables. 20% was processed foods. Now it's the opposite. Now it's like 20% is vegetables and 58% is processed food. So you're like, of course, there's going to be a lack of well-being in any society. Local foods, which is the treasure chest of what we call cultural, nutritional heritage. And in Tamil Nadu, it's absolutely massive. All the kires, the arekire, sirikire, but the ponangani, tudavali, modattakan, all these traditional foods. And things like valatanda and the valapu, banana stem, the banana flower. Of course, all the soraka, the pawakai, all these gourds and pumpkins, and a lot of different types of foods are there in Tamil Nadu. But you look in anyone's cupboard and you see what vegetable they have: beetroot, carrot, potato, cabbage, cauliflower. None of those foods grow here. You ask any ayah in the street, any party, you ask, like the ladies cooking in our cafe, but it doesn't grow here. Of course, we didn't eat it, Back then, there was not much money. There was, a relationship with food. Characteristic of local food, which is the salvation for us in our predicament in the world today, is that it grows easily. If you take what we call the muringakere, so you take the branch of the muringakere and you plug it in the ground, what happens? Starts to grow. See, everyone knows. That's because everyone has a culture still, It just grows. There's no expertise. And because it grows easily, it grows outside every single house in every village of Tamil Nadu, which makes it abundant. Something that's abundant is non-exclusive. Everyone now, they want to have pizza. They think, we had pizza. We arrived in one level in our life. We had pizza, But muringekere, everyone can have, only rich can have pizza. Beggar and pichikara and the king, they can all have muringekere. But only rich can have the pizza. The another characteristic of local food is medicine. Everyone knows that in Tamil, no? So food is medicine. This farm is, oh look, there's the muringekere, this farm is not just a farm, it's truly a pharmacy. All of these foods are, the moringa kere is full of amino acids, even essential amino acids. What is amazing, one plant should have essential amino acids. And the papaya is good for diabetes. This is ponangani here, that's good for your eyes, good for your liver. The valatanda is for your kidneys. The sangapu is good for women, for uterus, good for memory, antioxidant, stress, so many things. Everything is medicine. That there is no carbon footprint in this food. It grows outside your house. You take the moringa kere, but all those other vegetables that we mentioned, of course, you have to build a lorry to bring them from Uti, Kodaikanal, or from further afield. And if you consider what that means practically, when we sit there with our fingertips, we're like, oh, where did that come from? Okay, well, someone had to build factory for the engine, someone built factory for the metal, someone built factory for the plastic, the electronics, the glass, the paint, the rubber. Then there's factories for the pipeline, for the petroleum. There's factories for the oil rig, the refinery, the oil tanker, the nuclear power station. You're dealing with hundreds and hundreds of kilometers of factories. And then we'll sit there and we'll discuss sustainability, and we'll be in COP29 talking about climate change while we eat our finger chips. You can do 10 dishes, halwa, soup, puril, curry, this, that, and you start to see you have a treasure chest. And that knowledge is our culture. That's local food. So then you start to think, okay, local food, great, valatanda, I'm a local farmer. There is an essential nutritional value that cannot be defined by money. So what's the solution? The solution is something called farm to plate. Farm to plate means that what you grow, you cook. People say, oh, great concept. It's not my concept. People have been doing that since the time immemorial. They've been eating what they grow. But nowadays, you eat what you buy. So the coin defines the nutritional profile of a society, and not our relationship with seasons, not our relationship with the land. So in our farm, in Solitude Farm, we are serving all the foods that we have, including things like the sangapu and, of course, all those other things, the tande, the valatande and the tudavale, we put in the rasam, and people come and they eat, they're like, wow, it's so new. It's like, well, this is just some weeds we harvested in the field. Oh, what's this amazing juice? Oh, that's nanari. We took kroba, we dug it out, we crushed it, we boiled it, the wild sarsaparilla, and we put it with this flour. What's that? Oh, it's pumpkin flowers. Where are you going to get pumpkin flowers? It's there. You harvest it, you stuff it with the dal, you fry it. People will go, wow, 500 rupees. You will get economic value, You get economic value from that. So farm to plate is truly the way forward. And we are demonstrating that in Solitude every day. This week, I worked like a dog. We've had over like 600 people come to the farm, eating. Everyone happy, everyone leaving. It's like, oh, it's amazing. You can do this yourself. Anyone can do this. I don't have a university degree. You think you can't do this? The only thing you need is a culture. Dig in your culture, ask Party, ask your grandma, go to some village and put a recording with a phone and a tea and a biscuit. Ask the old ladies, the senior citizens, what did you eat in Diwali time? When it was raining, monsoon, what did you eat? What is the foods of the culture? What's the fabric of this nutritional cultural identity? And that can only be valued by feeding people. The education is in the palate. How else do we go on with this subject? Well, I think that firstly, you have to change the way you're farming. If you go in with tractor and you grow an acre of peanuts, you will spend like some 10, 15,000 rupees. There's the seed, there's the weeding, there's the opening the peanuts. So many things are there to do peanuts. And if anything comes up like one sundakai or ponangani, what are you going to do? You're going to remove it. You're going to say, no, I want my money for my peanuts. Have to, my mamia is in the hospital, my daughter's in the school fees. So you'll be focused on that, But if you create a food forest, and the food forest is in our farm, it has multiple layers of crops. It's become, I don't like these words, layered farming. It becomes like a concept. It's just very natural. You go in a forest, you'll see multiple layers of plants according to their physiology. Some plants are tall, some plants are short, some plants are carpet crops, some plants, like the guduchi, the amritum kodi, it's a vine, so you get all these different physiological relationships occupying different strata in the forest. And then you also have the time duration. Some plants are very quick to grow, and some plants will take long time to grow. I think to start thinking of food forests as a way to have crops growing throughout the year. We have in our farm about from 4.5 to 5 acres, about 8 to 10 tons of harvest in a year. So you have to start thinking in that direction as well. But then you have to think like, how can I get that food to people? And what we started to do recently is work with corporates. So there was a corporate in Chennai, fairly large corporate, and they gave us 5 acres of land. And they said to us, make us a farm and make us a cafe. I said, forget the cafe. You have a canteen, you're serving your employees. We'll cook for your employees to start with. No, like all you guys. No, first we cook for you. You're gonna wait for lunch. No, lunch will be served now. So if they have this or that, that's not a matter. What we have, we'll feed you. And that was amazing. So in 3 months, we had 700 kilos of produce, and it was like really, it was almost like how to say. For us also, we were like, yeah, this is not only in Solitude is it working, we can do this anywhere. Of course, they had to invest. You move that far away from nature, time, money, resources you have to put back in. But the result was there. So these pictures you've just seen are another look at re-landscaping landscapes. Like it could be done in your school, for example, in your college. Everywhere could be these perennial hedges with coconuts, papayas, muringakere, banana. You have a couple of drip irrigation lines going through here. And these foods can be harvested, you're walking like one more again. And if you're walking, like in, maybe this is like Tidal Park, in Chennai, the IT place, and you go and you go out to your office, you sit down and you have a chat with your friend on the phone, you see the hibiscus and you're like, oh yeah, 10 o'clock, I'm going to go back and they're going to serve me hibiscus tea. And then you see the papayas, you're like, oh, in the canteen, there'll be papaya halwa today. And underneath is tipali, and they'll be like, oh, Wednesdays, tipali rasam. You're planting a menu. You're not planting a farm, you're planting a menu. So again, this is another example of how spaces in schools or corporates could be re-landscaped from ornamental to edible landscape. And this is another one of those such slides. This is that project we did, so this was Feb 2024, and this was in March 2024. So you could see how it picked up, dramatically. This is all a question of time. Time is a currency. Time is your love. How much time you spend with your kids. How much time you spend with your music instrument is how much you're going to learn to play the music, So this is all about time. This is the production. So you can see, it went up to about 700 kilos in the 3rd month. Anyone can make a graph and show it in a presentation, but I can tell you this was how it was, And these are the type of dishes that we serve these people, This was like varagu, what we call varagu tabulia. This was like some sort of pasta made with, papaya and soraka. Another way that I've been exploring how to get this idea of honoring a cultural nutritional heritage is with major airlines. So I have a project in the project proposal. It's in the process right now with a major airline. You go to recently I was on a flight from Chennai to Hyderabad, and it was a very nice flight. I was very impressed. But they gave me wholemeal bread with cheddar cheese. I thought, what's that got to do with India? Nothing. Wholemeal bread and cheddar cheese, you have that in England, And then I got thinking, I thought, why not when you're in the booking, you book your flight, Chennai, Hyderabad, and then it says food, and it says local food. So you'd have like the gongura, that tuduvali tovel, chutney with that, how do you say, rosella, we say in English, and a ragi ade, a roti made with ragi. And, you start to have Indian food on a flight. Why not? But what does that mean is that you can then work with local farmers and say to these farmers, don't use tractors or chemicals. We want you to do the easy things. Give us sundakai. Sundakai, when you grow sundakai, turkey berry, you don't do anything, it just grows. Give us muringakere. It just grows, you know. You're actually recognizing that the characteristics of local food imply, you know, a nutritional well-being. Of course, those farmers would be paid as well, you know. So the airline company would work with local farmers, source the foods, and of course, on the flight, there would be me talking about the values of local food, you know, on your entertainment system. So that's another, you know, that's another aspect of this work. Here you can see a little bit better the food forest. To just bring this to a closure, you know, you can start to see that by far the most inspiring way and the most real way that we could work with this is on midday meal scheme. I like you to imagine 20-kilometer circle, and on that circle you have these food forests like Solitude everywhere, you know, and you have a little guy in the Tata Ace, you know, he goes around, he takes the muringakere, he takes the ponangani, in the valathan, and the varapu, and the pusnika, and he brings it back to the midday meal cooking center. They cook the food and they distribute the food. What are the takeaways? First, health. In one generation, diabetes will be over. What a massive thing to be able to claim, you know. Then you could see all the BP and all these things. Second benefit, there will be a real statistic for climate change. You get any mathematician, they'll, you know, calculate statistic. They'll tell you, yeah, this many people have been eating food with no carbon footprint every day. Of course, there's a correlation there. And it becomes that India is the model in climate change, and not this blah blah COP29 nonsense, you know, but something very concrete that we can do. You know, it's not something we wait for someone else to do. But the biggest takeaway is cultural, and that means that we grow up eating these local foods. And as we grow up, you have a preference, you know, you like hip hop music, and I like Hindustani classical. I like, well, your music is rubbish, and you beat me, you know, like, you know, the disagreement. You're a pure vegetarian. I eat meat. You're like, how dare you eat meat? You know, you like Krishna, I like Sai Baba. I say, Krishna, what a fool, you know, you give me a whack, you know. We'll disagree for any concept, opinion, belief, and ideology. Will you put that muringakere between us? We'll both eat, ayo, nalarga, you know. The local food is the lowest common denominator, and it's that gives us a cultural, nutritional identity, the knowledge of how to grow it, how to harvest it, how to cook it, the joy of eating it and sharing it. That is called cultural redemption. And that's the work that we've been doing at Solitude Farm. This is something we can all do because we eat 3 times a day, we have land, we have brains. Indians are running NASA, White House, and Google. You think can't be done here? Obviously it can be done. It's logistics. Where there is a will, there is a way. Thank you so much.